Before you speak another word, pause for a moment and feel the weight of what you are about to release into the world. Every sentence you give away is a piece of your power. Most people spend their lives talking, explaining, defending, and revealing themselves until there is nothing left that is private, nothing left that is protected. But the truly powerful move differently. They understand that silence is not empty. It is full of strength. We live in a time where everyone is rushing to be heard, yet few are learning to be wise. In that noise, those who can stay quiet become rare, and what is rare becomes valuable. When you do not react, when you do not rush to speak, when you do not reveal everything inside you, you create an invisible shield around your future. Some of the greatest victories in history were not announced, they were prepared in silence. And some of the greatest failures began with words spoken too soon, to the wrong people in the wrong moment. Today is not about muting your voice, it is about mastering it. It is about knowing when to speak and when to let silence speak for you. Because the moment you learn to keep your mouth shut, you begin to hear what truly matters. And that is where your power is born. Silence is often misunderstood in a world that celebrates noise. Many people believe that the loudest voice is the strongest, that the one who speaks the most must also be the one who leads. But real strength does not announce itself. It stands quietly, firmly, and without fear. When you learn to remain silent in moments of anger, temptation, or provocation, you are not losing power, you are claiming it. Every time you hold back a harsh word, you prove that you are in control of yourself. And self-control is one of the highest forms of strength a human being can possess. Anyone can react. Anyone can shout, insult, or lash out when they feel hurt. But only the strong can pause, breathe, and choose not to let their emotions rule their actions. That pause is not weakness, it is mastery. When you speak in anger, you often say things you cannot take back. Words, once released, cannot be retrieved. They travel, they wound, and they linger long after the moment has passed. But silence gives you a shield. It protects your dignity. It allows you to walk away with your head held high, knowing that you did not lower yourself to the level of the conflict. In silence, you keep your respect, both for yourself and in the eyes of others. There is also great power in not revealing everything you think or feel. When you speak too much, you give others access to your inner world. You expose your fears, your dreams, your plans, and sometimes even your weaknesses. But when you keep quiet, you remain unpredictable. You stay protected. You move with intention instead of impulse. This kind of silence is not empty. It is strategic. Strong people do not need to prove themselves with words. Their presence, their discipline, and their consistency speak louder than any argument ever could. They understand that the more they talk, the more they risk being misunderstood, manipulated, or underestimated. So they choose their words carefully, and often they choose silence instead. Silence also gives you the advantage of observation. When you stop talking, you start listening. You notice what people really mean, not just what they say. You see patterns, intentions, and truths that are hidden beneath the surface. While others are busy trying to be heard, you are learning, growing, and preparing. In moments of provocation, silence becomes your greatest weapon. When someone tries to anger you, to pull you into their drama, to make you react, your quietness denies them power. You do not give them the satisfaction of control. Instead, you keep your composure, and in doing so, you rise above the situation. Silence is not about fear. It is about confidence. It is the calm certainty that you do not need to fight every battle, explain every choice, or respond to every attack. You know who you are. You know where you are going. And that knowledge allows you to remain steady when the world tries to shake you. When you learn that silence is a form of strength, you begin to move differently. You stop wasting energy on meaningless arguments. You stop exposing yourself to unnecessary conflict. You protect your peace, your vision, and your future, not with loud words, but with quiet power. Not every thought that enters your mind deserves to leave your mouth. The human mind is powerful, creative, emotional, and sometimes chaotic. It produces ideas, fears, impulses, and reactions every single moment. But wisdom is not found in expressing all of them. Wisdom is found in choosing which ones are worthy of being spoken and which ones should remain within you. Self-control begins in the mind but is proven by the tongue. Anyone can say whatever they feel in the heat of the moment, but it takes discipline to pause, reflect, and decide whether those words will build or destroy. When you learn to filter your thoughts before turning them into speech, you gain mastery over yourself. And the person who masters themselves is never truly a prisoner of circumstance. There are thoughts that are born from anger. There are thoughts that rise from insecurity. There are thoughts that come from fear, jealousy, or ego. If you give all of them a voice, you allow temporary emotions to create permanent damage. But when you hold those thoughts back, when you allow them to pass without acting on them, you protect your future. Silence becomes a form of emotional intelligence. Words have weight. They can inspire, but they can also scar. They can unite, but they can also divide. Before you speak, you are in control. After you speak, your words control the moment. That is why thoughtful silence is often more powerful than careless speech. A quiet mind creates space for clarity, and clarity leads to better decisions. When you do not speak every thought, you give yourself time to understand what you truly feel. You give logic the chance to rise above impulse. In that pause, you may realize that what you wanted to say was not necessary, not helpful, or not kind. And in choosing not to speak, you choose peace. People who talk too much often reveal too much. They expose their plans before they are ready. They share their doubts before they have faced them. They give away their power by putting every emotion on display. But those who learn to remain quiet keep their strength intact. They move in silence, allowing their actions to speak for them. There is also dignity in restraint. When you do not feel the need to explain yourself to everyone, you stand taller. You become steady. You do not seek validation from noise. You trust yourself enough to let your character be seen through your behavior rather than through your words. In conversations, silence can be more commanding than speech. When you listen more than you talk, people feel heard. You gain insight. You understand perspectives. And when you finally do speak, your words carry more meaning because they are rare, deliberate, and rooted in understanding. True freedom is not saying whatever you want. True freedom is not being controlled by every thought that passes through your mind. It is the ability to choose your response. It is the power to remain calm when provoked, quiet when tempted, and thoughtful when it matters most. Not every thought needs a voice. Some thoughts are meant to be observed, learned from, and then released. When you master that skill, you do not just become wiser, you become unshakable. Your dreams are fragile in their early stages. Before they become strong, before they take shape in the world, they exist only in your mind and heart. In that stage, they are like a small flame in the wind. One careless word, one doubtful voice, one negative opinion can be enough to make that flame flicker. This is why silence is not just peaceful. It is protective. When you speak too openly about your plans, you invite the opinions of people who do not share your vision. Some will doubt you, some will laugh, some will project their own fears onto your future. And even if they do not mean harm, their uncertainty can quietly begin to infect your belief. A vision needs belief to survive. Silence keeps that belief strong. There are so people who will not want to see you succeed, not because your success harms them, but because it reminds them of what they did not have the courage to chase. When you speak about your goals too early, you expose them to jealousy, competition, and sometimes even sabotage. Not all danger is loud. Some of it hides behind smiles and friendly advice. Silence keeps your path hidden until you are ready to walk it. While working quietly also builds discipline. When no one is watching, when no one is cheering you on, your commitment becomes real. You are no longer motivated by applause or approval, but by purpose. Every step you take is for the dream itself, not for validation, and that makes your vision stronger. Silence gives your goals time to mature. Just as a seed grows underground before it breaks the surface, your plans need time to develop away from noise. In that quiet space, you can think clearly, make adjustments, and strengthen your strategy without pressure. You are free to fail, learn, and try again without the weight of other people's expectations. When you do not talk about your next move, you gain an advantage. People cannot interfere with what they do not know. They cannot criticize what they cannot see. You move forward without distraction, guided only by your own focus and determination. And when the results finally appear, they speak far louder than any announcement ever could. But there is also power in surprise. When you work in silence, your progress becomes unexpected. Those who doubted you are left without words. Those who underestimated you are forced to reconsider. And you do not have to defend yourself, because your results do it for you. Silence does not mean hiding forever. It means waiting for the right moment. It means allowing your actions to grow strong enough to stand on their own. When your vision is ready, it will not need explanation. It will be seen, felt, and understood. By protecting your plans with silence, you protect your energy. You avoid unnecessary debates. You stay focused. You keep your mind clear and your heart steady. And in that quiet, determined space, your future takes shape, free from interference, doubt, and distraction. Your vision deserves respect. And sometimes, the greatest form of respect is silence. When you choose to be quiet, you begin to notice a world that was always there but rarely seen. Most people are so busy speaking that they miss what is happening right in front of them. They talk over others, interrupt moments of insight, and rush to express opinions before fully understanding the situation. But the quiet person moves differently. They observe, they absorb, and through that, they grow wiser. Listening is one of the most powerful skills a human being can develop. When you stop filling the air with your own voice, you create space for others to reveal themselves. People show you who they are through their words, their tone, and their silence. You learn their intentions, their fears, and their strengths. This knowledge is priceless. It allows you to move intelligently instead of emotionally. Quiet people gather information the way a river gathers rain, slowly, patiently, without noise, but with great depth. They do not rush to judge. They wait. They watch how people behave, not just what they say. In that watching, they see patterns others miss. They notice who can be trusted, who is pretending, and who is truly aligned with them. This awareness gives them a powerful advantage. When you talk less, you think more. Your mind is no longer busy trying to be impressive. It becomes focused on understanding. You analyze situations from different angles. You consider consequences before acting. This creates better decisions, and better decisions create better outcomes. Success is rarely the result of loud thinking. It is born from quiet clarity. In a conversation, the quiet person often learns more than the one who speaks the most. While others are trying to be heard, The listener is collecting insights. And when the listener finally speaks, their words are sharp, relevant, and powerful because they are built on understanding, not ego. Silence also sharpens intuition. When you are not distracted by your own voice, you become more sensitive to subtle details. A change in tone, a pause, a hesitation, a look. These small signals often reveal more than words ever could. Quiet people pick up on these signals and use them to navigate life with precision. Winnie. NG is not always about speed. It is often about timing. And timing is learned through observation. By staying quiet, you can wait for the right moment to act. You do not jump into situations blindly. You see how things unfold, and then you move with confidence and purpose. This patience allows you to avoid unnecessary mistakes and take advantage of the right opportunities. Those who listen also build stronger relationships. People feel valued when they are truly heard. Trust grows, respect deepens, and in those connections, doors begin to open. Quiet strength draws people in because it feels stable, thoughtful, and sincere. The world may celebrate loud voices, but history is shaped by those who watched, learned, and acted at the right moment. Quiet people do not seek attention, they seek understanding. And in that understanding, they find their edge. When you choose silence, you choose awareness. When you choose awareness, you choose growth. And when you grow quietly, your success becomes something no one saw coming, yet everyone feels when it arrives. Every word you speak is a seed. Some grow into trust, respect, and opportunity. Others grow into conflict, regret, and broken relationships. Whether you realize it or not, your life today is shaped in part by what you have said in the past. This is why mastering your tongue is not a small skill. It is a life-changing discipline. When you speak carelessly, you give your power away. You allow emotion to take control of you. Our future. A single angry sentence can destroy years of effort. A single lie can collapse a reputation. A single promise made without thought can trap you in obligations you never wanted. But when you learn to speak with intention, every word becomes a tool instead of a weapon. Your mouth is the gateway between your inner world and the outer one. What you say reveals what you believe. If you constantly speak in doubt, fear, or negativity, you program your mind to see limits everywhere. But when your words are calm, clear, and disciplined, your mind follows that pattern. You begin to think with greater control, and controlled thinking creates controlled action. Strong people do not let their emotions decide their language. They understand that feelings rise and fall, but words remain. So they wait, they breathe, they choose. That simple pause before speaking is the moment where destiny changes direction. In that pause, you decide whether you will build or destroy, whether you will create peace or chaos. Your relationships are also shaped by your tongue. Respect grows when your words are thoughtful. Trust grows when your words are honest. Loyalty grows when your words are steady. But when speech is reckless, even love can turn into distance. Mastering your tongue means protecting the people and opportunities that matter most to you. Leaders are not defined by how loudly they speak, but by how wisely. People listen to those whose words carry weight, and words only carry weight. Tea when they are not wasted. When you do not speak just to be heard. When you speak only when it matters. Others begin to value every sentence you say. Discipline in speech creates discipline in life. If you can control what comes out of your mouth, you can control what goes into your actions. You become less reactive and more deliberate. You stop being driven by impulse and start being guided by purpose. This shift alone can change the direction of your future. There will be moments when you are tempted to lash out, to defend yourself, to prove a point. In those moments, remember that winning an argument is far less important than protecting your path. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. You do not need to respond to every provocation. Silence and restraint often speak louder than any reply. Your destiny is shaped by the choices you make every day. And one of the most powerful choices is what you allow yourself to say. When you master your tongue, you master your reactions. When you master your reactions, you master your decisions. And when you master your decisions, you master your life. Words can build empires, or they can burn them down. Choose wisely